观众大家晚安，欢迎大家今天来参加我们今天晚上欧洲教育系列讲座。那我们今天呢，很高兴可以邀请到 Inseec， 就是我们法国的高等经济与商业研究学院。我们有三位讲者，等会也会帮大家讲解介绍学校相关的学程。那在开始之前呢，先简单跟大家介绍我们最后 Q&A 进行的方式。使用电脑版的同学和观众，你可以在你的控制面板上面找到一个 question 的功能列，那你可以在那边用文字留下你的讯息。那使用手机版的同学的话，你的功能会在你的萤幕的下方，大概是在你的右边数来第二个会有个 question 的功能可以使用。那欢迎大家就是随时在讲座进行的时候，或者是简报结束的时候，针对讲者所说的内容，或者说你对于这个学校有什么样的疑问，都可以提出来。Hello, Fanlin. Today it's our pleasure to invite Inseec. We have the Fanlin Kong, and we have Célia and Paul. They are international admission officer from Inseec, and they will bring us a short introduction and details about their schools.So Fanlin, can we hand out the presentation to you now?
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
Okay, here we go.
大家好，首先很感谢 Campus France 和欧洲教育展的组织欢迎大家来到今天的 Inseec 高等商业学校的 Webinar 专场。很荣幸呢，今天可以在这样的一个平台和大家进行一个实时的远程互动。我是来自法国 Inseec 教育集团国际招生处的亚洲区负责人，大家可以叫我冯老师。今天呢，我们有邀请到国际招生处另外2位法国老师来参与到我们这样的一个活动中，所以这样我们的 presentation 会将是一个英语和中文混合的一个讲座。大家可以在留言区留下你们的邮箱地址，然后我们在讲座的最后会将我们的 PowerPoint 和宣传册发送给到大家。如果欢迎大家积极留言。如果大家在演讲的过程中有任何疑问，请在留言区写下你的问题我们会在最后进行 Q&A 环节的解答。相信2020年已经过去大半相信在座的各位多多少少呢都有被疫情影响到，这是非常复杂的一年。在往期的 Webinar 中呢，我们有遇见各种各样的同学，有的呢是应届的学生，然后现在失业率比较高希望选择出国留学，来这样扩展一下是提高一下自己的发展道路。然后还有的呢是上班族希望怎么说在职场上得到更多的机会。所以我们今天的演讲将会分为3个部分我们会有请到 Mr. Bosso 对我们 Inseec 教育集团和旗下16个学院进行基本的介绍，然后呢会有 Miss OGNA 向大家具体展示这16个学院的学科和项目的设置，最后会由我来向大家解释一下关于实习和工作机会、申请和录取流程、居留签证等一系列的行政问题。好，接下来 Let's welcome Mr. Bosso.
Hi everyone. Thank you very much for this introduction, Ms. Kong. So we're going to start with the first slide of this PowerPoint. So Inseec is the biggest European group in the private education sector, and the teaching model that we prioritize is the learning by doing. The result of that is a high employability rate due to internships and practical cases. So students can be trained by the companies in order to be operational as soon as they graduate. In terms of geographic location, our group is based in strategic location through cities like Paris, Lyon, Bordeaux, London, San Francisco, Shanghai, or Abidjan. Just to give you a few keys figure, we have 16 schools, 10 campuses in France and abroad, 28,000 students, 92 nationalities, 345 faculty members, 515 academic partnerships, 6 incubators, and over 100,000 alumni. So Inseec offers a large variety of programs going from bachelor to DBA through different formats, such as on-site, like initial and continuous, online, or work study, like apprenticeship, which is basically dividing your time between school and work. You also have a large choice of disciplines that my colleague Célia will cover in a few minutes. And as previously mentioned, our group has campuses in different continents, like Europe, America, Africa, and Asia. And I also think that it's really important to mention that we have an expertise in innovative sectors like digital, luxury, wine, and spirits, etc. To finish, we have educative programs, that are articulated around 4 major areas of expertise. So we have the management, engineering, communication design, and political sciences. So now I'm going to leave the floor to my colleague, Miss Onya.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Célia Onya. I work with my 2 colleagues that you have met just earlier, and I'm very excited to be speaking with you today and also to be presenting the most colorful slide of this presentation. My colleague, Mr. Bosso, just mentioned that we have a multidisciplinary approach, and I'll tell you a little bit more about this. Basically, this multidisciplinary approach allowed us to become the biggest, or actually the largest, higher education group in Europe. So I'll walk you through those different fields, or those 5 different poles that we have, and share more details about them. And on the next slide, I'll also show you which ones of our school belong to which one of our poles. Just to give you a little bit of context, Inseec started back in 1975 with, actually not in Paris, but in Bordeaux, in the wine region of France. We started with our business and management pole, and then we expanded our offer to more master's degree, which we call centers of expertise. On this slide, you can see it on the far right side. So after those centers of expertise, which are basically a lot of different master's degree in a lot of different industries, we expanded through acquisitions. We expanded to digital and communications, followed very recently by political science and engineering. So those schools are all, they have a really strong history, and they have a lot of, we have a lot of experience. Those schools have been created a very long time ago, and they are just new to the group. So I'll give you a little bit more details for each of those schools. In business and management, we have 25% of international students, and we have 3 large schools, which we call in French grandes écoles. And those programs are 3 years for bachelor's degree, 2 more years for master's degree, and you can also enroll directly for the master's degree, and it would be a 5-year program, giving you the master's degree right after you graduate. So there's a really strong employability for those programs, and a lot of different accreditations, which my colleague Ms. Kong will go through in a few minutes. So those programs are really international, and they are focused on international business management. Then we have a second pole, which is engineering. In engineering, we have programs like cybersecurity, big data, mobile development, and a lot of other programs. We have 1 grande école in this program, and programs go from a bachelor's degree to master's degree. There's also very strong employability on those programs, and 10% of our students are international students. Then if we move on to the third pole, which is communication and digital, we have 10% of international students, and we have programs such as digital marketing, brand communications, brand strategy, those type of programs. There is also a very strong employability for this school, and we have three large schools in this pole. programs also range from bachelor's to master's degree. And then if we move on to political sciences, we have 30% of international students, and we have programs such as diplomacy or international relations, for example. We have a few more. We have a really strong innovation and culture in this program. Employability is also very strong, and those type of programs are usually hard to find in other countries in Europe. So we are one of the rare schools to offer those programs. There's an organic growth of those programs for this very specific reasons, and we have different offers from bachelor's to master's degree and even PhD. And then the very last pole that I'll go through is the Center of Expertise, which, as I mentioned before, is composed of a lot of different master's degrees. We have also 30% of international students in this pole. And the degrees go from wine, sport, real estate, luxury management, or digital. It's a very international market with a very strong brand, as this school is really well known. And we also have bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, and executive programs. One of the really big assets of having a multidisciplinary approach and a lot of different schools that you can use a plug and play model. So you could, for example, start your bachelor's degree in one of our school and then complete your master's degree in another one of our school, or even actually switch and do the first year of master's degree in one of the school and then the second year of master's degree in another one of our school to have a wider skill set when you graduate. The next slide that I wanted to show you is, here you go. So as you can see, we have the 4 different poles on the screen: management, engineering, communication and digital, and then political science. And for each of those poles, you see the name of our different schools. So for example, in management, the large schools we have are EBS, ESCE, and for example, Inseec Business School. In communication, you would have Sup de Pub, which is the most famous one. We also have CREA. And in engineering, you have ECE, which is the engineering school. And political science, it's called HEIP. So those are all the schools of our group, or most of them. And then the last slide I want to show you, for my part at least, is the campuses. We mentioned, or my colleague Mr. Bosso mentioned, we have 10 campuses. So in France, you'll see we have Paris and Bordeaux, as well as Lyon and Chambéry. So depending on which type of programs you want to go for, being able to choose between different campuses that we offer, it's a strategic choice. For example, if you want to pursue your career in luxury, you would enroll in programs most likely in Paris. While if you want to pursue your career in the wine industry, you would go for Bordeaux, because we have a lot of wine programs there. It's also one of the 2 biggest wine regions in France. We also have campuses in Lyon with a lot of programs in finance, for example. Then other programs and campuses we have are in Geneva, Switzerland. We also have London and Monaco. All of our campuses are really well located and in the center of the city. So I will hand over the presentation to my colleague, Ms. Kang. She'll talk about admissions and accreditation details, and she'll also share her experience as an alumni of the group.
So much, Mr. Bosso and Ms. Anya. Okay, that's a slide. For the third part of the presentation, the quality of our programs is granted by labels, certifications, and accreditations. 在我们的左手边我们可以看到各种各样的 logo， 这些呢都是各种欧洲的各种认证体系对我们教学质量的一个认可。伊塞克教育集团旗下所有的项目都是被法国政府以及劳工局所认可的，而且在世界上大多数的国家，同学们都可以来进行一个学位的认证。自1975年建校以来我们的教育集团从一开始的1家学院不断的成长和扩张，直到今天有了16家学院，在世界的各个地方都有了自己的校区，也在世界的各个地方都有了自己的校友。我们的校友网是非常强大的，我们可以看到到目前为止已经接近有3万学生作为我们的校友。 而且不同于其他普通的商学院，就像我们 Miss OGNA 刚才提到的，因为我们的学科分类很多，那使得我们比如说学习金融的同学也可以有专攻政治和红酒专业的校友。然后回到我们关心的实习和工作方面的申请哈。首先我们本科第3年以及硕士的最后1年呢，学校会要求大家来进行一个6个月的实习，并完成一份理论和实际结合的论文。学校的 Career Center 会定期举行招聘沙龙，学生同学们你们都会有机会近距离直接面对面的和各大企业的 HR 进行一个面试和交流。我们的合作伙伴有类似于 LVMH， 有欧莱雅、家乐福、欧尚、达能，类似于这样的跨国企业，各种大型的银行，也会有很多新型的初创企业来加入到我们这样的一个资源当中。那有的同学就会说，哎呀，英语或者法语不是我的母语，那我们在寻找实习的过程中会不会很难？那首先我个人的建议是要找到自己的特点，这样使得我们的简历有不可替代性。第一次来到我们 webinar 的同学可能对我不是很了解哈。我除了是现在 Inseec 教育集团的亚洲区负责人这样一个角色，那我也是 Inseec 这个学校的毕业生，然后我是5年前通过交流项目来到法国进入 Inseec 进行学习。在寻找实习和工作的过程中呢，我们学校的 Career Center 为我提供了很多的帮助。Inseec 的各个合作平台也会对大家的各个方面都提供帮助，比如说模板的简历的模板和内容的修改以及各个招聘平台学校独家的职位一系列的资源大家都可以充分利用。由此在求学期间呢，我曾经在瑞士的制药集团、意大利的奢侈品品牌以及芬兰的工业制造集团都有过大大小小不同部门的工作经验，和大家分享这样一个个人经历是希望能给到大家更多的勇气。在完成硕士阶段之后呢，法国政府也会给到留学生1年这样额外的居留时间，来使得你们在欧洲寻找更多的工作经验。接下来让我们来看一下怎么申请我们这样 Inseec 的项目。首先向大家解释一下，在法国本科是3年制的，硕士是2年制的，所以说如果你是想申请本科的第1年，那我们会需要到你的高中学历。如果说你想申请硕士第1年，我们会需要你在你们台湾地区完成一个本科3年的学习。如果说你已经完成了本科4年的学习，那我们这里你可以申请Master 的第2年。那有一个前提就是说你选的这个 Master 专业需要和你的本科专业相对应。如果说你本科是学 Finance 的，那在硕士阶段你可以选择继续深造 Finance， 或者选择管理类的项目之类的。但是如果说你在 Master 专业想进行一个对于政治上的学习，那我们会要求你从 Master 第1年来开始。关于语言的要求，如果你选择是法语项目，我们会要求你到这样一个 TCF B2 或者 C1 的水平。DELF 和 DALF 大家可能不大了解。然后在英语的话，我们也需要你到一个这样，大家可以看到列表中雅思和托福的成绩。关于学费，Bachelor 所有的本科专业，我们对国际生第1年的学费进行了一个统一，所有的本科专业都是7700欧，所有的硕士专业都是15000欧。然后在我们这里看到一个 PGE， 这个代表的呢是法国的大学校项目。参与这样的项目呢是需要进行一个统考的，有兴趣的同学可以在谷歌上咨询一下，然后有兴趣的话直接来联系到我们。然后申请的网址在这一边 Hec.education， 直接 Inseec.education。特别是今年9月份没有来得及入学的同学，因为我知道因为疫情的关系，大家 考试啊、作业啊都有延误，所以有的同学9月份没有来得及。那我们是有一个春季入学的，在2021年的2月、3月左右，希望大家抓紧时间，然后进入我们的 Q&A 环节。
Hello, Fanlin.
Hello.
We actually already have the question now. So you have introduced 5 poles of your program. Are they all taught in both French and English, or some of them may just offer like French track?
Actually, we have most of our programs they are in French, but we are adding more and more English programs in our portfolio. And for the spring intake, we will have around 30-40 programs in English.
Okay. Could you give us like example, what are those programs? Like people can choose, a student can choose English track. For example, what kind of major and programs?
Okay. For example, for the bachelor's third year, we have a program in international business, which is full English. And for example, in HEIP, the politics school, we have bachelor's third year in international relations. And for the master programs, we have for the first year, wine and spirits, international business,
okay,
and business innovation, entrepreneurship, and corporate finance, private equity, etc.
Thank you. Also, we have students who are wondering whether if schools offer any scholarship or any subsidy for students, or especially for international students, or you have any resource for that?
Yes, the scholarships is something that the Insight Group is offering, and it's based on the profile, meaning we are going to study the file of the student, including the marks and the interviews as well.
I see. So if they would like to apply for a scholarship, what are those minimum documents they might have to provide, such as their school transcript, or do they have to offer any essay or PowerPoint or any study plan to you?
So it's more the first options. It's going to be the graduations and the marks, and in terms of range, it goes from 500 to 1,500. But the documents that we are looking for first are the graduation, the marks, and one more time, it's going to be also the interview that we are going to review before I take a decision.
So during your presentation, you have mentioned like if students they are not from the relative background back in university, back in bachelor, but they want to choose like different fields, study fields for master, and they might have to take the pre-master program. And what would be the courses or program arrangement for their preparation year?
Actually, it's not like a preparation year. If a student wants to choose a domain which is completely different from his bachelor program, we will advise the student start from the first year of the master instead of the second year. Because in the first year, students will have to go through all the general classes about the subject that he chooses. So, for example, the student has already done 4-year bachelor. He is qualified to apply for the master in the second year. But since the subject that he chooses is totally different, so we'll ask the student to start from the first year.
Okay, thank you very much. As for your MBA, we can see there are a lot of different majors based on your presentation slides. So if there will be like common courses, and then after that, they will have a specialized courses. Should all the students have to choose, or they have to decide what kind of program, what kind of course they want to take in the first year, or actually they can just adjust their study plan year by year?
It's year by year.
Okay. So is there any requirement for like working experience, or do they have any career experience before they apply for the MBA program?
If the students have the professional experience, that will be a plus to apply for the scholarship.
We have another question. It's for the second year. It's for the program for data analysis and manager marketing. The student is wondering, when is the program established?
Can you repeat the name of the program, please?
Data analytics and manager marketing.
Okay, for the actually for the spring intake, our portfolio is reduced, so this program is not available for the next intake, February, March, spring, 2021, but it will be probably available for the September 2021.
So they can start applying for this program
around May or June.
Fall. Okay, next fall semester.
Yes, exactly.
And currently, how many students do you have for this program?
Actually, this program is from Msc. Okay, it's according to my knowledge, it will be the class will open in several campuses, and each intake it will take around 30 students like that. So in total, we will say 100.
Nice. What are those campuses? Can students
for this program, for example, it will be in Paris for sure.
Paris, and then is any other option for the campus choice, or it's actually based on what kind of course students would like to pick up for their program?
For example, for this program, I will say in Bordeaux and Lyon as well. And for other programs, sometimes it depends on the source of professors that we have in place. So it really depends on the program and the campus.
I see. And still for this program, do you have like any detailed like courses for students, so they can just preview the details before they probably apply for that, or it's actually only available when they register, and then during their or before the semester when they start register for each courses, they will see what's the detailed list for the courses for the semester.
For more information about the programs, students are invited to go through our website, Inseec.education, or you can send us an email on the screen. You can see, so that we can send you all the details of the programs.
Okay, so actually student audience, they can make use of what they have seen on their screen. You have an Inseec.education, which is the website of the Inseec school, or they can send like specific email to you to the provided one. It's international admission at Inseec.com. And for those students, if both French and English language tests are required, or it's actually based on what kind of like course they choose?
Yes, for example, the student, if he wants to choose the French program, we will ask for his French level. And in the same case for English, we will ask for his TOEFL or IELTS marks. Yeah.
So it depends on what kind of program and what kind of language you're going to choose, right? Okay, sure. We have students for BBA. When does the BBA program start? Will you be available for both fall semester and spring semester, or it's only available from fall semester?
For the spring intake, what I can see is there are several bachelor third year, bachelor first year, and we have several bachelor program in English available for the spring intake. For more details, you have to see in the Inseec.education.
Okay, would you suggest students to probably state what kind of major or what specialized or expertise they want to learn, and then you can give them more details?
Yeah.
Sure. So regarding the, we have some test requirement, because Inseec is very famous for its business and management system. You require people or students to have GMAT score, or it's optional? It's not mandatory.
It's optional. If the student has already passed the test, it will be a plus to be admitted.
I see. So it's both for either it's for BBA or it's for MSc, or it's either for MBA. It's quite listed, right? Like GMAT.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Do you have any like minimum score for that, or?
We will have to go through the profile of the student case by case.
I see. So if the students are interested in the fields of like arts, such as music, drama, or dance, I know you're offering like more like brand luxury marketing, but if they would like to develop their career in music, arts, drama, dance, would you suggest any program for them? Either it's a diploma program, or it's a short program, or it's a certificate program.
So for the students in art, we don't have programs specialized in art, but we have programs in business and management around their domain. For example, we will have cultural heritage management and for example, and other programs around the art and culture, but not specialized in how to play the music, something like that.
It's more about management or marketing side of it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. So as you mentioned, you have a quota of students each year for each program. So if the student isn't first come first serve application process, or it's actually you can just you will set up a deadline for the student, and then you evaluate all the profiles and decide who you're gonna intake for the new semester.
So we usually process application as soon as they arrive. We have a certain amount of people we can take for 8 programs, and it is in a way on a first come first serve basis. We fill the seats as soon as we have good candidates for them. And when students are admitted, they receive their admission letter, and then it specifies that they have 2 weeks to confirm whether or not they wish to enroll. So past these 2 weeks, there is a possibility that the classes would be full and that we would need to potentially look into other programs that could be interesting for them, or that we would need to defer their intake to the next semester if all the programs that they could be suitable for are full.
I see. So for those who are not from the similar background back in university, well, do you think if they apply their master program, in another field, will you affect your decision in taking the student if they are not from the relative study field?
If the students want to apply for another field, first of all, we'd love to know more about his motivation, why he wants to change the domain. And then, as I said before, we will invite the student to start from the first year, which he can get more basic knowledge. So it's possible, but we will suggest students start from the first year.
Mm-hmm. Which means like as long as they can express like their strong motivation, or they can give really reasonable and practical reasons in their application, chances are they might still have the chance to study in a different field in your school.
Yes, exactly.
And also, I believe like a lot of students pay a lot of attention about internship. Will schools support, give any support, assistance regarding the internship? I know you probably host job fairs, but aside from that, is there any other assistance like student may seek for from you?
So we in each school of Inseec group, we have a service which called Career Center. It's the support for students to find their internship, even for the job later after the study.
For those, so probably when students, even though they choose to study their courses and program in English, they might still want to learn French. Is Inseec offering any like French language courses such as courses for international students, or do you offer any like support or any resource that students make use for?
For instance, we don't have a poll to especially for language. It's in our project, but in Paris area you can find a lot of agencies like Alliance Française to learn French.
So do you have any like partnership with those agencies, or do you have any recommendation list for the student if they consult you regarding learning French?
We will help students to get more information from the agencies, but for instance, we don't have a partnership with them.
Okay. So if when students try to apply for example, your master program, what are those documents they might have to prepare? Like, do they need a reference letter or any recommendation from their professors or their supervisor or manager or their colleagues?
Part of the documents that we require for any application is the ID, so the copy of the passport, for example, the resume, any university transcript and diploma, and the certificate of the ongoing year if you're currently enrolled in a school or university.
Okay. And the reference letter as well, or?
That's a plus. But
that's
not,
it's not mandatory.
Exactly.
Okay. So if the student want to start from bachelor degree, what kind of transcript would you take if they only have like records in Taiwan from the Taiwan high school? What can they do to submit their application? For example, they can have their transcript to be certified by certain agency or by the government.
So in this case, the minimum requirement would be a high school diploma.
High school diploma, and they don't have to handle any like marks or records for their like research or study. They only need the diploma or certificate of the diploma.
Normally that's only the diploma, but if there's any other document that could support the application, that would be a plus.
Regarding, we just talked about the GMAT, so it's an optional, but like if student wanna graduate from the program or they wanna complete their program at Inseec, do they have to take GMAT before graduation or before they finish their studies there? Or is still no choice for them?
Not obliged. For us, students will be asked to finish a memory or dissertation to validate their diploma.
Would you like to probably give us more examples about internship? Like, is it a paid jobs or what kind of jobs they might able to find?
So for the internship, students are asked to finish a 6-month internship. So in France, if the internship is longer than 6 months, you are paid, and the minimum salary is around 560 euros.
So the minimum, how long is the internship would be? The minimum will be 6 months.
Yeah, we will ask a student to do a 6-month internship for the bachelor last year and the master last year.
So, well, since we are almost the end of our session, so let's have the last question. We talk about GMAT, and do you like if the student have GRE, will it be the plus? Will you accept this task as a part of the application, or actually only GMAT?
We would accept it as well, whether it's GMAT or GRE or any other supporting documents would be welcome, but they are not mandatory. Okay. So if the student hasn't gone through the process of passing the exam, it's completely fine. They can still apply and we will still process the application.
So as long as they have the equivalent certificate, either GMAT or GRE, it would be a plus for their application and for their graduation and for their profile, but it's not required.
Exactly.
Okay, so I think that's all for today's session. For those students, if you are interested in Inseec programs and more details about application, you can either leave your emails at our question part, or you can just send an email to the provided one on your screen, and you can specify your question to the Inseec officers and colleagues here. And thank you very much, Fanlin and Célia.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
谢谢各位同学参加我们今天第一场。那大家就是跟刚刚在简报中提到的如果你们对于 Inseec 有想要知道更详尽的讯息或是资讯的话，或者说你们想要跟他们要今天的简报，你可以在 question 的栏位留下你的 email， 那我们在会后就是1周内会把那个资讯寄给你。那刚刚我相信讲者他们在简报上面也有写到他们的网址跟电邮的部分，那大家也是可以，如果你就是不想要透过这边，那你可以当然也可以直接写信跟学校那边询问。那我们再来我们会邀请到法国教育中心我们的台湾区代表曾小姐，那她等一下会跟大家稍微讲一下有关于到法国念书大家会比较关心像是签证相关的问题，那就请我们曾小姐来帮大家简单做个说明这样子。
大家好，大家好，非常谢谢各位呢，今天这么踊跃来参加我们法国的讲座。那今天呢，很高兴我们第一场邀请到的是一个教育集团那刚刚同学有听到他们旗下呢有16所学校，那课程的选择呢也非常的多元化，语言呢同学也可以 选用英文或者是法语授课的。好，那在等第2场就是8点钟即将要开始的活动之前呢，想要跟各位就是讲一下，因为时间的关系，如果今天呢有一些同学呢，因为大家非常踊跃参加，那问题也很多。那如果是关于行政方面的问题呢，之后非常欢迎同学呢可以跟法国教育中心，就是 Campus France 这边联系啊，我们是法国官方的单位。那荧幕上大家可以看到我们的联络方式啊。法国教育中心每周1到周5下午2点到4点都有对外开放，那不需要预约。住在北部的同学呢，欢迎可以利用这个对外开放时间到教育中心来做免费的咨询。因为呢最后同学要办签证呢，也是要透过法国教育中心这边来进行面试。那当然我们如果是住中南部的同学不方便到我们办公室咨询的话呢，也可以多多利用那个 email 跟法国教育中心这边联系。那任何关于行政上面的这个流程呢，都可以找教育中心。那我们今天办这个线上说明会呢，是让同学可以直接就是跟学校代表呢提问，因为通常我们教育中心的工作人员呢没有办法帮学校去回答一些，例如说申请学校的资格啦等等方面的问题，这个呢只能由学校来回答。所以呢接下来呢我们8点钟即将要开始的这个学校呢同学呢应该在网络上面都搜寻得到哈，这叫做巴黎 HEC 商学院或者是巴黎高等商学院。那这所学校呢它是在各个指标性的学校排名当中就是在 Business School 的排名当中，全欧洲甚至于全球都是数1数2的它是属于法国的这个名校系统，那国际化的程度也非常高。那么呢巴黎 HEC 商学院跟巴黎政治学院还有法国国家行政学院呢，可以说是法国政治界跟商业界领袖的3大的摇篮所以这间学校呢非常有名。那当然呢它的入学条件相对的也会比较严格一点。那有兴趣的同学呢，等一下不要错过这个机会，可以呢直接把你们的疑问呢提出来。那应该是再过大概8分钟现在剩下8分钟的时间。那所以这个月我们除了就是有一些商管学院，也会有另外有一些跟艺术相关的这些学校。那这些线上说明会的这个讲座资讯呢，都会在欧洲教育展的官网上面那现在呢都还可以报名，所以呢可以麻烦同学，如果觉得这个线上讲座呢有获得一些收获的话呢，可以把这个资讯呢告诉你周围的这个同学来参加我们这个线上说明会。因为其实欧洲教育展呢，我们从2002年开始办，一直到今年呢已经19年了。那只是遇到疫情的关系，所以呢今年我们没有办法办实体的活动。但是呢因为那个欧洲的学校他们没有办法来台湾参展所以我们今年呢就找到这样子的一个替代方案，希望呢在防疫的这段期间呢提供欧洲留学资讯呢不会中断。那所以呢请同学呢可以踊跃的报名，然后把这个资讯呢告诉你周围的朋友跟同学。好，那还是如果说在线上的同学有其他关于留学法国的问题，或许呢我们可以利用剩下大概5分钟的时间如果同学有问题的话呢，我也很乐意可以在这边呢直接回答你们的问题。 有的话不要客气哈，直接我们在线上呢把问题提出来，然后呢，我如果可以的话，我可以尽量在这边呢直接帮同学解说。请问现在法国同学要如何联络法国教育中心呢？就是我们荧幕上应该大家可以看得到，法国教育中心就在法国在台协会里面。那其实因为台湾跟法国没有正式的邦交，所以呢我们叫做法国在台协会。那其实它就是一个大使馆，它有大使馆的功能，有签证组等等的。那我们的地址是在台北市敦化北路205号10楼。
谢谢那个我们今天小姐哈，当然就是让同学有一个比较概略性的了解，有关于大家比较关切的怎么样申请啊，可以从哪里就是寻求协助或者说帮助这样子。好，那我们再来呢接下来45分钟，从8点到8点45分是我们下一个我们会是邀请到了巴黎 HEC， 就是我们巴黎高等商业研究学院我们的他是Sophie，她是那个Student Recruitment Director。那一样我们就稍微再跟大家提醒一下，等一下我们 Q&A 进行的方式大家就是使用电脑的话，你可以在你的Webinar 的面板上看到 Question 的功能，那你在那边留下文字讯息，或者使用手机版的同学，你的功能列会在下方一样我们在下方寻找 Question 的功能就可以了。好 ，Hi Sophie, welcome back. So
My
we are
sound was off.
we are glad to meet you again. It's really our pleasure to invite you as on behalf of HEC and give us a very great presentation about HEC program and what are those campus life are, and probably you have give us more explanation about master programs. So now it's your time for you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We'll get going on the presentation. So first of all, thank you very much to the Campus France team for inviting me today. I'm very excited to tell you a little bit more about the pre-experience master's programs. And like Jade said, my name is Sophie. I'm the Director of Student Recruitment. So I'll do about a 30-minute presentation and then have about 15 minutes for questions, just to give you an idea of the structure of the presentation. So the programs that I'm presenting you today are the pre-experience master's programs. So you're eligible for these programs as long as you have between 0 to 3 years professional work experience by the time you would start the program. So if you are in your final year of bachelor's, if you're currently completing a master's degree, or if you have less than 3 years of professional work experience, then you are more than welcome to create an application and apply to our master's programs. If you are over 3 years of professional work experience, then you'll be looking at our MBA program. There's also the executive MBA programs, PhD, and summer school. The summer school is really an excellent way to get to know HEC a little bit better before committing to a full master's programs. So I won't go too much into HEC's rankings because I do think that they speak for themselves. The one I will mention is that that HEC is number 3 on the Alma Mater Index. What that means is if you take all the top CEOs worldwide, HEC is the number 3 school represented behind Harvard and Stanford. So what that shows you is that when you come to HEC, we don't just help you go into whatever industry interests you, we really help you become a leader of that industry, and that's why leadership potential is something that's important to us in your application process. We have about 4,500 students enrolled in all our programs with 105 nationalities represented. So diversity in our programs is very important, and that's something that you'll find. We have many international partners, and we have 60,000 alumni in 135 different countries. This means that you can count on our alumni network not just as a student, but for the rest of your career and all over the world. So if you start your career in London and then you want to go to the US, you'll have many alumni there that can help you in your career choices. So it's really an excellent support system for you as an HEC student. There are many programs all over the world that might seem similar to the ones that we offer at HEC, but this to me is really what sets HEC apart. So what we do first is we give you high quality academic standards. So we maximize class hours and we reduce class sizes. So you'll be with no more than 50 students in the classroom, and all those classes will be taught by full-time professors or professionals. So we'll have someone from Bain come and teach a strategy course to our students. And this is how we maintain a perfect balance between theory and practice. So we give you the theoretical foundation that you need in marketing or finance or strategic management, whatever program to which you applied. We give you a strong theoretical base, and then we really incorporate the practical approach through your courses or networking events where we have you work on real life case studies on company projects, so that you're really feel already in your master's program like you are integrating the professional world. That's something that's very important for us, and we know it's something that's important to students when they come to HEC for their master's degree, is to feel confident that they're going to find a good job coming out of the program. That also is why HEC is a particularly inspiring environment with many personal development programs. As I said, networking events, we have the finance fair, consulting fair, tech day where we have Amazon, Google, Facebook, a lot of big tech companies. We also have the automobile day where we have many different automotive companies that come. And then of course, a strong campus social life, which I'll talk about a little bit later on in my presentation. So these are our pre-experience master's programs that we offer. So if you're eligible for our pre-experience master's programs, these are all the ones that you can apply to. Keep in mind that when you create an application, you can apply to a maximum of 2 programs. So you have a first choice and then a second choice. So our flagship program is the Master in Management Grande École program, which is taught in 2 years. It offers the most amount of possibilities in your second year of the program. The M2M programs mean that if you apply to, let's say, the HEC M2M Yale program, your first year will be spent at HEC and your second year will be spent at Yale. Same for FGV, for example. If you apply to the M2M FGV program, your first year will be at HEC and your second year will be at FGV. So you'll get a degree from both HEC and this partner institution. The Master in Management does allow you to do all of these double degrees. The only difference is that when you apply to the Master in Management, what you do in your second year of the program, you don't have to decide until the end of your first year. So if you're interested in doing a double degree with Yale, or you might want to stay on campus and study finance, then the Master in Management is a great program because it allows you to have a little bit more time before you have to decide. Then we also have the 1-year MSc programs. Those are, and of course, all these programs are taught entirely in English. The only ones that are taught in French are the 2 programs you can see at the very bottom right. They are Médias Arts et Création and Droit et Management International. Otherwise, all of our programs are taught entirely in English. And the ones at the bottom in the dark blue, those are all 1-year programs. So if you know that you want to go directly into international finance, then you can just apply directly to our MSc International Finance program. If the International Finance program is your first choice, but you are also interested in the, let's say, double degree with TUM, then you can put in your application a first choice to the International Finance program and a second choice to TUM. So this is just to kind of give you an idea of our Master in Management class profile. There are about 250 students in the, so again, this program is the first one listed in the portfolio. There are about 250 students in the classroom with about 64 nationalities. All academic backgrounds are welcome to a lot of the programs in our portfolio, but especially the Master in Management. The Master in Management, like I said, is a 2-year program, so you have kind of a generalist phase in the first year where we give you a lot of core courses and mini electives so that you can already start to customize your first year of the program. And then you have the 50% practical part with networking events and company projects. Because of our students have a lot of exposure to companies in their first year, many of them choose to do the optional gap year. A lot of them do their internships in Europe. So they'll do 6 months of investment banking in London, and then 6 months of consulting in Dubai, for example. So that's what you can do in your optional gap year. Some students create their own startup. So there are there's a wide range of options for you during the gap year. And that also helps you determine what you want to specialize in your second year. So your second year is the specialization phase, which means you can either stay on campus and specialize in international finance, in marketing, in strategic management, or you can do an international double degree with one of our partner institutions, meaning that the first year you spend at HEC, your second year you spend at the partner institution, and you get a degree from both schools. So some of those schools include MIT, Berkeley, FGV, Bocconi, TUM. There are many, many schools with whom we have a partnership. Or of course, you can do a specialization in the SEMS program and just spend 1 semester in a partner institution. You also have the possibility in a lot of our programs to finish with a certificate. What a certificate is a major HEC faculty got together with at least one major corporate partner, and they created these certificates around the idea of, okay, in excellence in client experience, what is it that we want our future employees to know? And so this certificate, for example, is in partnership with LVMH. And so you go to the offices of Louis Vuitton, of Moët & Chandon, a lot of different luxury companies to see what types of projects they're currently working on. So you can either go deeper into something that you're already interested in or try something completely different. And this is, again, a great way to network with companies and a great way to put a sector of expertise onto your CV. The career paths after the management are very, very solid. So again, you can see most of our students choose to stay in Europe. For a lot of our programs, we keep the students on a student status for about a year after the program, which allows them to stay in Europe and work. So the job sectors that our students go into are consulting, financial services, technology, luxury. They create their own startups as well. So you can see that HEC is a very sure choice if you want a solid career path after the program. And then for the MSc program, so those are 10 months. You can see the list right here. The only MSc program, which is a 2-year program, is a joint degree with Polytechnique, and that's called the MSc Data for Science program. All MSc programs are quite similar in their structure, meaning that they start in September, they finish in June, and then students have to complete either a full-time job or a 4-month professional experience to validate the program. They include core classes, electives. Most of them have a study trip. So for example, our marketing team went to Dublin last year to meet with major companies like Google and Facebook. Otherwise, our international finance students, they went to London and met with over 30 different banks and large companies, as well as boutiques. So you do have the study trip to really help you with your networking, and then you have company projects, case studies, and of course the certificates, which I mentioned right here in this slide. Okay, so now for the campus and student life, this is a very important part of being an HEC student. You can see just in my last slide a few pictures of the campus, the library, and the students at graduation. So the campus is set a little bit outside of Paris. So right now, especially with everything that's going on, it's been very, very safe for students to be here. And then we help, with buses and everything, take students into Paris if they're interested in going to Paris. So all international students, so all of you would be guaranteed housing on campus. You can live on campus and then go into Paris whenever you want, but it's fantastic because you're 5 minutes walking from the classroom. You're very close to all your student associations. There are over 130 different student associations that you can choose from. There are professional student associations like the HEC Business Game that we do in partnership with Bain. There's also 180-degree consulting, the investment club. There are also cultural student associations. So there's the wine and cheese club. I know that one's quite popular. And of course, athletic student associations as well. For how to apply. So a lot of our programs are quite selective, but we have a holistic approach when evaluating applications. This means that we really look at your entire application, and if there's one part that you're a little bit worried about, let's say your grades aren't very strong, but you had an excellent GMAT score, then that can help compensate. So everything needs to balance out to make an overall competitive application. So we're looking for a strong GMAT GRE score, or DIMICH, we also accept that exam as well. Cross-cultural sensitivity, so how much are you aware of cross-cultural conflict and sensibility. Then there's academic excellence, of course, internship or extracurricular activities, and then strong motivation, which should come through in your essay questions or during the interview. The application process takes place through our website. Even if you're applying to a double degree, you would apply through the HEC website. So if you go on our website, you can create an application. Even if you don't want to apply until March, you are welcome to create your application now, and it will just carry over until you submit your application. You have 4 different admission deadlines to which you can apply. So once the admission deadline takes place, we will review your application and then we'll publish the admissibility results. Admissibility means whether or not you've been invited to an interview. So you'll have your interview and then the final admissions results will be published very shortly after. So in terms of supporting documents, there's the degree certificate or current enrollment if you're still a student. We'll need your transcripts, any transcripts that you have, a 1-page CV or resume, which I'll give you a little bit of information about in my next slide. There's a GMAT, GRE, or DIMICH. We do not have a minimum score requirement for any of these 3 tests, nor do we have a preference between them. You need to pick the exam that is best suited for your background. The average score that we accepted last year for the GMAT is about between 700 and 710. For the GRE, it's 320, and for the DIMICH, it's about 400. So this is the average score we accepted last year. Of course, if you're above that, that's great. If you're below, then you can just contact my team and we'd be happy to give you advice on whether it's still okay to apply or whether you should retake the exam. We also need an English language proficiency exam unless your most recent degree was taught entirely in English. If it was taught entirely in English, then you can be exempt from this requirement, or if you have a passport from an Anglophone speaking country. We also need 2 letters of recommendation. They can either both be academic or 1 academic and 1 professional. You also have essay questions. If you want to know the questions for the application, then you're welcome to create your application now and get familiar with the questions. And then of course, the €110 application fee to submit your application. So here are the different deadlines to which you can apply. Round 1 is on October 20th. So let's say if you submit your application on October 10th, on October 20th, we'll begin reviewing your application. On November 16th, we'll let you know whether or not you've been invited to an interview. And then on November 30th, you'll have your final admissions results. So the different deadlines to which you can apply are October 20th, January 6th, March 3rd, or April 28th. There's the most important thing is to submit your application when your application is strong. So if you need a little bit more time to study for the GMAT, then it's better to apply on March 3rd than January 6th. But if your application is ready, then the earlier you apply, the better, because there are fewer and fewer spots available with each passing deadline. In terms of the one-page resume or CV, these are just a few tips for you that might help you in the application process. So the way we like to see it is really a one-page CV. We like to see your education first, and you can mention your GPA, which is just your overall grades from your most recent degree. And then your professional experiences should be next. That can include internships, for example. Volunteer experiences should be just below that. And then you can have your awards, so either academic or athletic scholarships, they can be next. Extracurricular activities, if you've been involved in any student associations, definitely include that in your CV. And then finally, IT skills, languages, and if you have the room, you can include one line on interests. I've seen a lot of students include really original interests. It can be sailing, it can be cooking, but try to make it a bit unique, because when students say traveling, it's quite general. So try to be a little bit more specific and just one line with your interests. It can be a nice way to connect with the person that's interviewing you. So speaking of the interviews, here are just a few tips. So the interview is 25 minutes, all in English. It'll probably be online for the first round, and then we're not sure for the other admission deadlines. It's either online or in campus. In any case, you always have the choice between online or on campus. And we don't have a preference. We know that some of you are very far away, so if you do your interview online, that's totally fine. In any case, the important things to remember are to dress appropriately, make sure that you're looking business casual, that you have an appropriate environment behind you. Be on Paris time, so your invitation for the interview is definitely written in Paris time, so keep that in mind. And then accept an invitation, our online invitation, or have the link ready. We're trying to adapt to all the different systems of students, so either by Skype or Zoom, but in any case, whatever, if we send you an invitation, please accept it, or if you have a link, then make sure it's ready right before your interview. Have headphones, make sure that you double check your sound, your settings. We have a lot of students on, they're called student ambassadors, and they're more than willing to communicate with you on our website. So if you type in HEC Paris Master's Programs, you'll see on the right-hand side the possibility to chat with our students. And there are many, many of them who would be happy to share their experience of the interview, to share their experience as a student on HEC's campus, and who can even do a practice interview with you. So definitely contact our HEC students on our website, and they'd be happy to exchange with you. Otherwise, do your homework. You can contact alumni on LinkedIn, or like I said, the current student ambassadors on our website, and then be ready for questions about internships, recent events, or any career goals that you might have. We have a lot of webinars that we organize, a lot of different activities, the possibility of doing one-on-one meetings. So definitely check out our website where all this information is listed, and you can see everything that you need to know. So, and this is the email address that you can use to be in touch with us. So definitely contact us. We have a whole recruitment team in place to help you throughout the admissions process. We're really here to support you. So if you have questions, please email us at admissionsmasters@hec.fr.
Thank you, Sophie. It's very comprehensive demonstration about HEC programs. I believe even we have a lot of tips for students, which is what it's very helpful for them, and it's something they would be so interested in. So let's start with the first question. I believe our student and audience would be very interested about the scholarship and probably student subsidy. Could you provide us more information about this? And if they would like to apply for scholarship, the earlier they apply for it, will it be more possible they get the subsidy?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I'm just going to go back to our admission deadlines, because if you would like to be eligible for the HEC, or sorry, the Eiffel Scholarship, it's a really fantastic scholarship, and the only way you can be eligible for this scholarship is to apply to the first admission deadline. If you apply to the first admission deadline and you're admitted to HEC, we'll send you an email with all the information you need to apply to the Eiffel Scholarship. You can find information right now on our website, but we will contact you. Otherwise, regardless of which round you apply to, if you are admitted, we will automatically consider you for what we call the HEC Foundation Scholarship. That is, it can range from about 3,000 to 12,000 euros, and we would let you know very shortly after you receive your admissions results. Otherwise, a lot of other scholarship opportunities are listed on our website. And in any case, on October 1st, HEC is organizing a funding and scholarship webinar. So you're more than welcome to attend. You can find this information on our website, and we'll be sharing a lot of different funding and scholarship opportunities through this webinar.
Sure. So if student audience, they are interested about this webinar, they will just go through the HEC website and they can just sign up for this online.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, there should be a tab somewhere that says recruitment events or different events, and then you can see all the webinars we have coming, including one webinar on October 1st for funding and scholarship opportunities.
Okay. We have another question. It's regarding the language exam and language requirement for either English and French. What is the minimum score they have to have for it?
Oh, that's a good question. So we accept the TOEFL, the IELTS, the TOEIC, and the Cambridge exam. Those are the only 4 exams that we accept. And the minimum score, I think one of them is a 7.5. I don't have them off the top of my head, but what you can do if you have a doubt on your English language score, you can send us an email at this address, and I'd be happy. It'll take me 4 seconds to just look at our scores that we require for that, and then I'll send it to you. I can just never remember between the 4 exams what the average score is, so I apologize, but you can definitely email us, and I'd be more than happy to let you know.
Will they find those information on the website? Like they can see the equipment for okay. And how about the French?
Otherwise there wasn't.
Myself and or other like TCF or DIMICH or other French tests.
So there's no French language requirement whatsoever in any of our programs. For the Master in Management, we will offer you French. I mean, if you don't have any French language competency at all, we will require you to take 1 French class, which is just really important for your networking with companies that come on campus. So it's just to get you a basic level of French. So it's nothing really too intense, but that's really the only program I think that has any French that will teach you during the program. Otherwise, to apply, there's really no requirement for the English, so we will need that exam. And then for, again, the management tests, the only 3 that we accept are the GMAT, GRE, or the DIMICH. We don't have a minimum score requirement, but the average DIMICH score we accepted was 400. The average GRE was about 320, and the average GMAT score was about 710.
Okay, thank you very much. We have student who is interested in a GE program. So will there be any differences if they apply through SAFE or if they apply directly on HEC website?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and we do get that question a lot. There are 2 ways to apply to our Master in Management program, either directly through our website or through what we call Join a School in France. It was formerly called SAI. So basically, you can either apply through Join a School in France or our website. If you apply through our website, you have the possibility of adding a second choice program to which you'd like to apply. So that's one advantage of applying through our website. Otherwise, SAI or join a school in France, if HEC is your top choice, but you'd be happy to be admitted to any of the other schools in this partnership, then you can apply through join a school in France. We really don't have a preference between the two. Join a school in France is a great way to apply to multiple different schools in one application. The only risk you take is that you don't have an interview with an HEC representative, but again, that's really not a problem because we interview students not for our school, but just in general. So it really doesn't change very much. So either option is totally fine.
And well, let's go back to the language test requirement. So how would you evaluate their say if their score or their language certificate will expire after the semester? Like, would it be valid?
Oh. Yeah, that's a very good question. We actually consider the language score, the English score, and the management score to be valid 5 years, and it just has to be valid the moment you submit your application. If it expires afterwards, that's okay, but we actually consider it to be valid 5 years and not 2 years. So if you apply in October, you took your test 4 years ago, you apply in October, even if it's not valid anymore by the time you start the program, that's not a problem.
And regarding the internship, or probably you have any career center, will you host any like job fair or the bridge, say the bridge program for finding internship or for the gap year, or do you offer any assistance or any opportunity? Give us more details about this.
Of course, that's a really good question. So career placement, internships, everything, that's very, very important to us at HEC. So we do have a career center that's more than available to meet with students, to help guide them, to give them CV tips, interview prep. Students among themselves do a lot of case studies, they do a lot of interview prep, so they really help each other out, and there's very much a spirit of collaboration and not competition at HEC, which is very important. So you can definitely make an appointment with our career services. To be perfectly honest, many of our students don't need to, because organically through the program, through the study trips, through the career fairs, students get a lot of networking in, and so they usually find their internships or their jobs quite naturally throughout the program. So they don't necessarily have to rely on our career services, but of course, if that's something that you want during your program, they're very much available to help you with that.
And for those who are not from the relative, say academic or professional background, do you think what would be the plus for them, or what kind of extra certificates or any extra proof of a document they can to support their application? What would you suggest?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. Most of our programs are really open to all academic backgrounds. So we have students that come to our finance program that studied engineering. We have students in our Master in Management that studied philosophy. So that's really not a problem, because we know that even if you don't come from a quantitative background, if you got a relatively good score on your GMAT or your GRE, then we know that you have the potential to do well in our more business related classes. So that's not a problem. You can always do additional, certificates or online classes, or even student associations. Let's say you studied French, but you are part of the finance club in your institution. That's fantastic. So there are really ways to study things that aren't business related and to still definitely be eligible to our programs. And we really, they're pre-experienced programs. So besides even just a few months of internships, we don't require full-time professional experience before coming to the school.
Like, for example, if they have taken say we have a short-term program or summer program in other relative to those schools, that would be also a good support for them, right? Or
Of
they have
course.
any like seminar or in present like papers or give us like join some panel discussions and
Yeah, exactly.
they can provide any supporting document, it would be considered.
Yeah, yep, it's exactly as you said, summer school programs, online certificates, anything that you've done, please put it on your CV. Please tell us about it in your application, because the more information we have, the better. And we will, of course, consider everything that you've been involved in when we evaluate your application.
We have a student who is wondering if they can renew their GMAT score even after they submit the application.
So we have students that ask this if they can, let's say they got a 690 on the GMAT, they submit their application and then they improve their GMAT score and give it to us after. You can do that. The only risk that you take is that we evaluate your application with your first score and that we evaluate your application before we receive your second score. So if you have a 690 right now and you want to apply to October 20th, but you've scheduled to retake the GMAT in November. In that case, I really think it's best to apply in January once you'll have both scores, because that way we can admit you into our program with your best GMAT score. So it's really best to take it before submitting your application.
Let's go back to we have a previous question about application through state and then through HEC website. So if the student apply through both channels, is the application rate be higher, or it's actually the same, or actually you would not recommend such like duplicate application to students?
Yeah. Good question. It's important to mention this. I didn't mention it before, but so thank you for your question. The one thing you cannot do is apply through our website and through Join a School in France at the same time. We won't, basically your applications will cancel each other out. So you have to choose either to apply through the HEC website or to apply through Join a School in France, but you cannot do both options at the same time.
For those students for their application, if they don't have any working experience or if they don't have any internship experience, would it affect their the result of application, or it's actually they can just they can enhance this part after they study the program, if they start a program at HEC?
So like I said, we have a holistic approach when we evaluate your application. So let's say you're someone that always had very good grades, you were very involved in your different student associations, and you volunteered a little bit, but you have zero internship or professional work experience. That's okay, because the other elements in your application that are strong can balance out for the fact that you don't have very much professional work experience. The other thing that certain students do is they land an internship. So let's say before January, they know that they're going to do a summer internship at, let's say, BCG. Even if they haven't started that internship yet, but it's for sure that they were accepted into this internship, they'll put it on their CV so that we know, okay, this student doesn't have very much professional work experience. He or she is applying now, but we know that the student is going to complete this internship experience before starting at HEC, then that's totally fine. We know they'll have a little bit more professional experience before they start the program.
So, but after they start program, and then I believe like all the HE students have to take an internship. Are all the internship opportunities are paid, and do you have any minimum length for like required length for each internship?
A lot of them are paid internships, really almost most of them, because we know that, let's say for the Master in Management, if you do 2 6-month internships between your first and your second year, we know a lot of students hope to make money in that gap year so that they can pay the second year tuition fees. So we do, most of the internships, I'd say, are paid internships for the students.
Do you have any like statistic about like the starting salary or
Yep,
degree?
normally if you download the brochure from our website, we have all this information. Otherwise, I'll show you again our career placement statistics if you can still see my screen. Hold on. If you're interested in any, I mean, I have the career placement right here for the Master in Management, but if you're interested in the, so you can see the average starting salary is 63K. If you're interested in knowing for the International Finance Program or the Strategic Management, you just have to download the brochure off our website, and it's on the last page of the brochure. There's always the career paths after the program, and you can see a lot of this information.
So if student would like to apply for bachelor degree, a bachelor program at GC, do you consider their, do they have to have like, for example, Taiwan, the university entrance exam in Taiwan, or they should just have their probably high school transcript ready?
We actually don't offer bachelor's programs at HEC. We just offer master's programs. So if you're a high school student right now and you're interested in doing something at HEC, you won't be able to complete your bachelor's program here at HEC, but what you can do is our summer school program. If you type in HEC Paris Summer School, there are many excellent options for you. We have like a mergers and acquisitions finance course. We have a luxury course. We have a business and geopolitics course. So definitely look on our HEC Paris Summer School website, website, because we do have a lot of options for high school students, but you won't be able to complete a bachelor's degree at HEC.
So like as a high school student, if they already have like attend your summer school program, will it be a plus if they would like to apply your master program later on?
Yes, absolutely. It's a major plus because we know that you're familiar with the quality of teaching at HEC. And not only that, but you're also exempt from the application fee. So you just have to check the box that you attended the summer school when you submit your application, and then you will not have to pay the 110 euros to submit your application. So it's definitely something that we look for in your application.
So regarding the application in general, so you have mentioned a lot of like perspective, like you will be the gong at students' profile application. But could you probably talk about the percentage? Like, for example, you will evaluate 40% will be for their score, or 30% will be related essay, and probably 20% for their letter of recommendation.
We really don't. There's no one element in our application sections that we value more than the other. So, you know, a student with a almost perfect GMAT score, but that hasn't done any internship experience and has not gotten involved in their school won't be any more impressive than someone that got a little bit lower GMAT score, but did participate in a lot of student associations. So there's really no one element that's more important to us, which is why it's important to focus on each one and really make it as strong as possible so that overall your application is competitive.
Right. So like you say, it's actually a comprehensive evaluation about your profile instead of like you have to have high score on your language or expertise exam, right?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
And how about the cross-cultural sensitivity? What is, and then how the school or each program would evaluate this item, its prospect?
So we know it's not possible for students to travel all over the world, especially right now, it's very difficult. So cross-cultural sensitivity can be as easy as, oh, I'm a part of the German association at my school, or every Sunday I go to the market with my mom, and you know, we experience so many different cultures in the market. It can be very simple, but the question will come up in your interview, like, okay, it looks like most of your interview and, your professional and educational experiences have been in Taiwan. Can you tell me why you think you'd be ready for a program that has a lot of different cultures in it? So it's just be ready for that question, because it's something that's important to us, that students will be able to interact well in the program.
So it's more about probably they would be asked, or they should prepare for during their interview to evaluate probably their knowledge or their awareness.
Exactly.
Different
their awareness. That's a great way to say it. So develop your, definitely mention that you are aware that cross-cultural sensitivity is something that's important. And if you're not in your final year of bachelor's and you have time to get involved in a student association or some sort of club or activity that's a bit cross-cultural, then that's something that you should think about.
All right. We have a student who is asking the difference between GE and the MSc. Could you probably talk about like what's the difference between them?
Yep.
What would be more suitable if this student or applicant already have working experience before?
That's a great question. If you already have like 1 or 2 years of professional work experience and you want to get back out into the workforce more quickly, then the MSc programs are a great choice, because they're shorter. They're really 10 months. They're more focused. So let's say you've studied business, you worked 1 year in marketing, and you really hope to refine your marketing skills even more, then it would make sense for you to apply to the MSc marketing. Or let's say you studied engineering, you worked, you did a 6-month internship in M&A, it would make sense that now you want to do the MSc International Finance program. So if you feel like you want something more focused and short, then the MSc programs are a great option. If you're interested in really deepening your foundation in business and management in your first year, doing an optional gap year before specializing or doing an international double degree, then the GE program, the Master in Management Grande École, is a great option for you.
Because of time, let's have the last question here. It would be, would you like to talk about the luxury or say brand marketing certificate in HEC?
Yeah, exactly. So the certificates you can only apply to, you can only participate in if you're an HEC student. So you would have to be admitted to one of our master's programs. And then for all the MSc programs, it's included in your tuition fees, and it's obligatory to complete a certificate. So it's about the last 6 to 8 weeks of your program. You will be doing one of these 8 certificates. And like I said, it's a great way to get a sector of expertise on your CV and to network. So let's say, you studied strategic management and you're really interested in seeing what the luxury world is doing in terms of of strategy, then you could do the luxury certificate. That would be a great option. Or you studied finance, but you've always been kind of interested in exploring data science. You could do the data science certificate.
Right.
Okay, everyone, it looks like there might not be, can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good. Well, again, like I said, a big thank you to the Campus France team for this excellent organization and for including HEC Paris, and a huge thank you to all of you who participated in today's webinar. Again, don't hesitate to contact us. We're really here to help you. So thanks, everyone.
It's very helpful, and we are very happy to have you tonight. with us and all the students. If you have a question, you can leave your message here or you can email to Sophie. I believe she can answer you like in details very well. Thank you, Sophie, to join us.
Thank you. Bye bye, everyone.
Bonne journée.
Bonne journée. Au revoir.
Au revoir. 我们谢谢各位同学今天晚上的参与哈。那刚刚我在跟同学稍微就是 recap 一下，就是还蛮多同学问到跨领域申请，那刚刚讲者就是 Sophie 她的有提到，就是其实他们对于学生的申请是全面性的评估，那就是针对学校做最基本需要的文件你要提出来以外，你可以用它不是只评估你单一的项目或者说你的科系，只要你能够在其他方面可能给予他比较好的一些你可能是在解说方面或者说其他的方面有做加强化加分，跨领域都是可以申请的。那更详细，如果你要针对某一个学程某一个科系的话，其实你们都可以刚刚在 Sophie PowerPoint 里面都有提到他的 email 跟学校的网址，大家都可以上网然后去搜寻更详细的资料。有关于的还蛮多人会问工作经验哈，这都是只要是相关的，就是有关于你的申请是相关的，你觉得是对于你的申请是加分的项目，大家都可以放上你的申请表格上面，不管是工作经历、实习经历，只要是相关的相关产业，或者是你只是参加即便你只参加研讨会，或者你只是参加短期的课程，只要是相关的领域，你都是可以作为你的 supporting document。在你的申请的时候可以递交的，好吗？这边就是同意，蛮多同学就是对于这方面有疑问，所以我们就是一起一并再跟大家说明一次，就是刚刚讲的在里面都有讲的蛮清楚的。那一样，大家如果还有问题的话，你可以留下你的 email， 你希望就是讲者可能提供一些什么样的资讯的话，你也可以留下 email 让我们知道。那我们今天晚上的讲座就到这边告一段落。那我们下个礼拜2跟礼拜3，那我们延续继续还是会有商管学院、设计学院，然后下个礼拜3会有实体的讲座会继续举办哈。大家如果还是有兴趣的话，还是非常欢迎大家来参加。那非常感谢大家今天晚上就是非常踊跃的发问啊，相信校方这边也给了蛮详细的回复。大家如果还是不清楚，他们也都提供了网址跟 email 让大家就是进行联络的部分。